Hello everyone and welcome to Toxiscandia, stories of a toxicologist living in Scandinavia. Today we are talking about sunscreen. Summer is almost here and sunscreen becomes a very hot topic, and today we are going to discuss it from different points of view, including its toxicity, potential toxic effects. If you are interested in this subject, please continue watching. So, sunscreen. Why actually do we need it? I don't think it's gonna be very new information for you viewers. If you are interested in sunscreen, you probably know why we need it. Sunscreen is used to protect our skin from UV light and to prevent skin cancer as a potential consequence. However, there are also some additional effects, positive effects of sunscreen. It also protects us from aging, it slows down wrinkle formation, and also protects us from any possible allergies that can occur under direct sunlight. Speaking about skin cancers, there are actually several of them. It's not just one disease, and the most dangerous ones are melanoma and carcinoma. Good news is that sunscreen gives us actually around 40-50% reduction in cancer risk, which is a huge number, and I encourage everyone watching this video, please use sunscreen if sun is shining, even if it's not summer, if it's spring or autumn and still there is direct sunlight, sunscreen should be used, especially on light skin. What various types of sunscreen are out there? There are actually several, and first of all we need to distinguish between UV light A and UVB, which is marked as UVA and UVB also on the sunscreen bottle. All sunscreens protect from UV light type B, and only some of them protect from UVA, so you should always check that your sunscreen protects from both. Both types of this UV light can cause skin cancer, and it is important to be protected from both. There are two different groups of UV filters that are included in sunscreens. These are chemical filters and physical filters. Chemical filters are also sometimes called organic filters. So what is a critical difference between these two types of filters? Chemical filters actually absorb UV light into skin and then transform these hazardous metabolites that are formed in our skin into non-hazardous one. Physical filters, on the contrary, reflect UV light, so UV light is not absorbed into the skin at all. SPF, you have definitely heard this word. What does it mean? It is actually quite complex term, but to make it simple, let's say if without any sunscreen your skin burns after 10 minutes, so SPF 15 will give you the opportunity to be out there 150 minutes, so 10 multiplied by 15. Without any burning. And as we all know, sunscreen also comes in different forms, such as lotions, sprays, powders, balms, and other forms as well. Okay, this was kind of general part, just to remind you to be on the same page. And now we're going to the most fascinating part, which is toxicity. And let's start with chemical filters. So chemical filters can actually be absorbed systematically into our body. So this means that from the skin, through the skin, they can go into blood, urine, and even breast milk. That is why it's important that this substance is not toxic, or at least not very toxic at doses that we are using them. Of course, as always in toxicology, substance itself and its dose are very important. It's not only the substance, because if the dose is very small, then even if substance is not completely safe, then it could be so that consequences are not very critical for us. Our body can actually handle some sort of toxicity in certain doses. So dose is a very important concept in toxicology in general, but also in sunscreens. And why am I talking about this? Because in experiments where especially sunscreens are tested on lab animals, very huge doses are usually used. So sunscreens are applied directly into the skin of animals, or even they are ingesting them, and then it's a very, very big dose that is not very relevant for our use of sunscreen. That is why we need to be a bit skeptical about those studies. There are also different routes of exposure. Of course, we are dealing mostly with skin if we speak about sunscreen, and our skin is very good barrier, so absorption of the substance is very low, although it may happen still. And since the internal dose is very low, then most of the substances used in sunscreen are safe. However, we have some very sensitive systems in our body, for example, or our hormonal endocrine system, that can react to even very, very small doses. It is so well tuned. So that is why sometimes it's actually important to know what is going inside your sunscreen, and then what may go inside your body through the skin. Speaking about concrete substances, I would mention oxybenzone, probably the most dangerous substance that can be used in sunscreens. And in EU, there is a concentration limit for oxybenzone in sunscreens, and it is 6%. So up to 6% concentration is allowed for use in sunscreens. Why is it hazardous, the substance? Because first of all, allergies are very frequent, and of course, as I said, some well-tuned systems such as hormonal system might be affected by oxybenzone. And another thing is that this compound is also dangerous for environment, especially for coral reefs and for fish, for aquatic environments. And last thing is a reaction with chlorine. If we are using this sunscreen and then bathing in the swimming pool, this reaction may happen and will probably happen, and then toxic substances may form when oxybenzone reacts with chlorine in the swimming pool. So this is not very good news. Another substance is homosalate, also has concentration limit in EU and can safely be used in sunscreens in concentrations up to 10%. This substance is not as problematic as oxybenzone and has shown very low adverse effects in mice, to be specific, on male fertility in mice, and in humans there was no adverse effect related to this substance. So if you want to be sure, you should probably avoid it, but it's not as problematic as oxybenzone. The same level of hazard is relevant to octocrylene, another substance, and it also has concentration limit of 10%, so can be used up to concentrations of 10% in sunscreens. Has not shown any hormonal effects, but sometimes has caused allergies. So for allergic people, for people that often experience this type of symptoms, you should be very conscious when using octocrylene as well. Physical filters, another type of filters, and here we are usually dealing with nanoparticles such as titanium dioxide or zinc dioxide. On my channel, I already have a separate video on titanium dioxide. I will post the link to this video in the description to this video, and also try to remember pin it as the first comment. And if you are interested specifically in titanium dioxide, you can go and watch that video. In physical filters, usually these two types of nanoparticles are used. They are very high-tech, based on modern technology. And physical filters, as I said earlier, are not absorbed by skin, and UV light is not absorbed by skin as well. It is reflected by this UV filter and reflected very well. Skin is a good barrier, so if you are concerned about nanoparticles penetrating healthy skin, you shouldn't be as concerned, because usually this doesn't happen. But if skin is damaged, if there is some micro damage, for instance, then it can happen. Actually, nanoparticles can penetrate the skin, but this would only happen if the skin is not healthy. Another good side of physical filters is that they are quite safe for environment, especially compared to chemical filters. But one thing that we should remember, skin is a good barrier, this we know, but if we inhale nanoparticles, then it's not good. If they go into the lungs, they can probably be transferred into the bloodstream and then to different systems and organs of our body. So sunscreen with physical filters with these nanoparticles in form of spray or powder should not be used. This is not safe, so please remember that. There is no concrete evidence that nanoparticles inhaled are super dangerous and they will definitely cause cancer and whatsoever, but this is based on general assumption that lung route is the most dangerous one, and when we are dealing with any particles, we should not let them go into the lungs and then into the bloodstream, and that is why sunscreen with physical filters with nanoparticles should be only used in form of lotion or balm. Another question that may come up is sunscreen and vitamin D. Doesn't it prevent us from getting enough vitamin D from the sun? I should say that you shouldn't be concerned about that, because skin cancer probability is much more dangerous, and even if we are using sunscreen, then some UV light is still absorbed, and then vitamin D production will still be going on inside the body. This is of course if sunscreen is used in normal doses. Speaking from my personal experience, I live in the north, I live in Norway, so here I try not to use any sunscreen during the cold season, during the winter, when there is very few sunlight. This is not to prevent my body from making vitamin D during the winter, but of course when the sun comes I use sunscreen even in Norway, even in the north, and I would recommend you to do that as well. So let's draw some conclusions to sum up everything that I have said. First of all, better use any sunscreen than not use anything. This is the general rule, and especially if the sun is very active and your skin is very pale, then you should be using sunscreen very actively. This is because cancer risk is a very significant and very huge risk compared to all other risks, such as toxicity from sunscreen or deficiency of vitamin D, and we should prioritize cancer risk here and use sunscreen when it is needed. Speaking about toxicity, chemical filters with oxybenzone should be avoided. This is the substance that is not very well tolerated and can also be hazardous for health or for the environment. Other chemical filters are considered quite safe, both for humans and for the environment. And speaking about physical filters, they are also safe, sometimes even safer than chemical filters, but you should remember to use them only on healthy skin, not a damaged one, and also not to use them in spray or powder that can be inhaled due to nanoparticles that can be hazardous for us when inhaled via lungs. So this is all you have to remember about sunscreens before the summer season, and I wish you all the best, and I hope you stay healthy and strong, and let us enjoy sunny days and be protected from UV light that can cause very serious consequences. If you like this video, please push the like button. You can also subscribe to my channel and push the notifications button, then you will get notifications about my other videos, and see you next time. Bye bye.